The B Plus Wrestling Podcast.
The moves.
Might not be an A, but you are a B plus.
Check it out! Here we go! You wanna mess with us? Cause we're steady on the ground.
All right, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends, welcome to another B Plus podcast. I am your host, Greg Unchained. Today is Saturday, I hope. And that means it's time for our flagship podcast. When I say I hope, like when I don't know what day this is coming out, you know it's a flagship podcast. So we're still toying with things as the new wrestling world schedule unfolds. And we're sort of, we've moved it this week so that we're going to talk about SmackDown next week. So we already talked about last week's SmackDown, so that's not going to fall in. So maybe this week's will be a little bit shorter, but it is what it is. It's the flagship show. We're going to talk the entire world of professional wrestling. It's a big fucking world at this point. Joining me, of course, Mr. Mysterious. How are you, brother?
Feeling fantastic. Getting ready to condense this vast world of wrestling with you.
Well, it's bright and early for you because of bloody daylight savings puts us, 2.5, 3 hours, whatever it is, apart now. Mm-hmm. And so it's getting late here, man. I'm ready for bed. I'm in my pajamas.
I think we're one of the only podcasts, like wrestling podcasts, where we have to do like 3 different time zones.
Yeah, speaking of the third time zone, Ben Tokyo, our quizmaster of collusion. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Stay Tokyo, and before we started recording, I think I haven't watched any Japanese wrestling. We've got a little bit to talk about.
You're failing your own gimmick.
Oh.
But yeah, no, New Japan's been a bit light at the moment.
Yeah, they had a house show, I think. It's a Korakuen show that went up, but the New Japan World's been down today for maintenance, so I haven't been able to see any of that.
Yeah. We've got a few things to talk about with New Japan, though, right? They've just announced the competitors for the Super Junior Tag League.
Yeah.
Let's dive straight into it, man. Super Junior Tag League coming up. It's November?
October 16th. So Monday is King of Pro Wrestling. Then 2 days after, it kicks off on the Road to Power Struggle.
Right.
Yeah. The final takes place on November 3rd, so maybe that's what you think of.
Yeah. So it's normally like the tag season is kind of like November, generally speaking. Like Japan have a lot of tag tournaments in November. But that sucks because October 16th, that means Robbie Eagles, spoiler alert, Robbie Eagles and Will Ospreay, the Birds of Prey, they're one of the teams in this Super Junior Tag League. And that means Robbie definitely won't be at Coliseum. So
Has everybody been announced for that show yet? For the Coliseum?
I think they're still announcing matches. But
yeah. So I think you were holding out hope that you would see him, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. I was hoping Robbie would be there. I was hoping he'd do some sort of open challenge or something to that effect. But it's still going to be a brilliant 2-day card even without Robbie Eagles. Like that's how stacked the roster is. And they've got fly-ins coming in like Orange Cassidy and Rory Gulak and stuff. So it's not like the loss of Robbie Eagles really hurts it that much. It's just that I'm flying up to Sydney to go to PWA. I was hoping Robbie Eagles would be there.
Yeah, it feels like ages since I've seen him in person. I think the last time I saw him was when I was in Japan at the Best of Super Juniors, actually.
Yeah.
So he knows me as the beer spiller because I've spilt beer on his merch spot a couple of times at MCW, and I'm sober now, and I can't wait to bloody tell him.
Yeah,
I'll come over. I'll be the water spiller. So we'll go through the teams.
You'll be less intoxicated, so it'll be you probably won't actually do any spilling. Yeah. Well, you'll be completely not intoxicated.
Sober.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So the teams we've got Tiger Mask and Yuya Uemura, my favorite name to pronounce, teaming together. Ryusuke Taguchi and Rocky Romero. So we've got a bit of cross teams there. Well, Taguchi Japan with Chaos.
With Chaos. Yeah. That's interesting, that one.
We've got Will Ospreay and Robbie Eagles, Birds of Prey. Sho and Yo, who I'm picking to win it just because I can't see them having Wrestle Kingdom without these two on the show. Volador Jr. and Titan returning from CMLL. So I don't know if but they'll win Best of Super Juniors as well, I think. TJP making his debut to the Super Junior Tag League, teaming with Clark Connors. Teiji Ishimori and El Phantasmo, I believe that's still the champions.
So that means TJP's representing the LA Dojo, I guess. In terms of factions.
Yeah, because he did go to the LA Dojo, didn't he, years ago? Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, El Desperado, who's I haven't seen him since he returned from his broken jaw. teaming with Yoshinobu
Yeah.
Kanemaru. So,
Right. Former tag team champions themselves, junior tag team champions.
yeah.
I'm going to differ from you, man. You're picking Show and Yo. I think that it's the Birds of Prey. I think the Birds of Prey take this one home.
But the winner of this challenges at Wrestle Kingdom. Do you think they're going to have Will Ospreay in the throwaway junior tag match that opens the show where they have like 3 or 4 teams in it?
You got 2 nights, remember?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Will
I'm very
Ospreay
curious
can do a
if they're
big
going to have
singles
people
match on
wrestle.
night 2.
I don't know if they're going to wrestle on both nights, like in separate matches or.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's very, very hard to figure out what's going to happen when they throw in that second night. So,
If anyone's going to wrestle on both nights, it'll be Will Ospreay. Like, he'll want
yeah,
to.
that's true.
He's done
Yeah.
every fucking tournament this year. Like,
That's true. Yeah.
it's a bit ridiculous at this point.
Well, yeah, I might have to walk back that Show and Yo prediction then.
Yeah, I'm calling Birds of Prey.
I'm leaning more towards the Birds of Prey personally. Just the story with the Bullet Club right now. I mean, it does need to. I feel like it. You add the titles in there, it's going to be fantastic.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it'll be pretty awesome to
Yeah.
see Robbie
And look,
at
I
Wrestle
mean,
Kingdom.
obviously we're biased as
Yeah,
well. We're,
yeah.
we're the Aussie Graps
Yeah.
guys. Like it's expected. We're going to pull for Robbie
Going to see Will Ospreay next weekend, eh? No, this weekend. Today's
this weekend.
nice.
Today's
in 2
Thursday,
days.
isn't it? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. I'm not at the
You can
Friday
see him
show,
in
but
2
I'm going to
days.
be at the Saturday show.
yeah.
Teaming
Well,
with Kyle Fletcher. That's what they're doing on night 1, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, against the Phillip brothers, and then the winners will challenge for the tag team titles.
Against
Yes,
Brat
against
Pack.
Brat Pack. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an interesting one, man, because Will Ospreay's replacing Mark Davis. So I'm curious how they're going to work together.
Yeah. But even if they don't win on that first night, then Will Ospreay will be having a match on the second night as well. So
Yeah, definitely. Now, looking forward to your report with that from MCW. Is there anything else in the world of New Japan? Because it's been pretty light.
yeah, so we do have a whole card announced for King of Pro Wrestling. So this is coming up on the 14th on Monday night.
Right.
So
Monday night.
just like the headlining matches here, we've got Jushin Thunder Liger finally having his singles match against Minoru Suzuki. And so I don't know if whoever wins that, is it going to extend out to Wrestle Kingdom time?
It has to. We've got to drag this one out. Drag it out to Wrestle Kingdom.
Hopefully it's like an awesome match. Lots of drama. See the Kishin Liger, hopefully. Will Ospreay.
That could be both of their last match in New Japan, theoretically.
Yeah, if the rumors about Suzuki leaving are true.
Yeah, if it happens at the Dome, and like you said, the contracts go around that period.
Yeah,
so,
February 1st.
it could be interesting.
Will Ospreay defending the junior heavyweight title against El Phantasmo. So have we seen a singles match between these? Maybe in the Best of Super Juniors, but should be quality this one. Then we've got John Moxley finally defending his title, the United States title against Juice Robinson in a no DQ match.
Got to think Juice gets it back, or do we think that that AEW and that whole thing, and they're actually still trying to angle for a relationship, so maybe they keep it on Mox until the Dome? What do you think?
The AEW thing just makes it so complicated with scheduling that it's less of a headache if they just get the belt back off him now.
Yeah, especially since Juice isn't doing Ring of Honor or anything anymore. It's Juice is a New Japan guy.
Then we've got Kota Ibushi defending the briefcase, the championship challenge right certificate against Evil. So definitely expecting Ibushi to retain that, to challenge against Okada at the Wrestle Kingdom.
Someone has to lose the briefcase eventually.
Yeah, but don't do it to Ibushi. Yeah, we've still got this mini tournament rumors, so I imagine he's going to hold on to that. And the
I
main
think
event
so.
is Kazuchika Okada defending the IWGP heavyweight title against Sonata. And every single one of these singles matches they have, it gets a little bit longer and a little bit longer, a little bit longer. So their last one was 29 minutes and 48 seconds, I think, back in the G1, where Sonata finally got his first ever win. I think he had 7 or 8 losses and finally got his first win. So we're going to see Sonata lose again here, I think. Well, it would be absolutely crazy if they put the belt on him.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I don't think now's the time. I don't think now's the time to put the belt on Sonata.
No.
Just to make everything more of a head scratcher going into this mini tournament thing.
just just to throw shit through a... No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Okada is a pretty safe bet. In fact, I think he's such a safe bet that if you were to bet on him, you would lose money.
Just wonder if there's any way that...
Right, like with the way odds work?
If there's a way that Sonata can take... Like, if they're talking about this four-man tournament, if there's a way that Sonata can take Nato's place, because I still don't see how Nato has a claim to be in that, but if something happens in this match where Sonata's like, I'm going to represent LIJ
Naito in there.
and be the fourth person in this mini tournament.
Interesting take. I hope it doesn't happen.
Sonata is incredibly popular in Japan.
He is.
Not quite as much as Nato, because Nato is the number one guy, I think. Sonata might be second or
not
third.
as entertaining as Naito either.
Yeah.
I like Sonata.
Yeah, me too.
But I definitely prefer Naito. But if that does it for Japan, let's have a look at some. I know you're watching AEW, so we're going to keep you around for the first half of our Wednesday Night Wars discussion, and we'll close out AEW with the quiz and whatnot, and we'll let you go, and then we'll do our NXT and WWE and all the stuff that you aggressively don't care about. But before we get to AEW with Dynamite, of course, we had AEW Dark on Tuesday, and that wasn't the only thing that hit YouTube on Tuesday. NWA Power. I'm of the understanding we have all watched this new NWA Studio TV show. Is that correct?
Yes, I
saw
watched
it. I imagine you guys are a bit shocked. I'm like, oh, Ben's not just watching Japanese wrestling. He's also started watching AEW and NWA.
I feel like we've changed you, Ben.
I just think it was the Twitter that day. Everybody was raving about it, and I saw it was an hour long and it was free. And it's like, well, there's no reason I can't watch this and contribute to the podcast.
Yeah. Did everyone else love it as much as I did?
It was so refreshing. Old is new.
What's old is new again. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as I was watching it. I mean, look, a lot of the hipsters love the retro stuff, right?
I love the presentation, but the matches on it didn't do much for me. Like, I know we had squash matches and that was fine, but Nick Aldis is just like Cody Rhodes, and I just cannot get into those
mostly
matches,
squash matches,
especially when they wrestle against each other at all.
See, I enjoyed it a lot. I really liked that main event, and that's what made it. Like, we talk about this with MLW, less MLW, but like NXT sometimes as well, and you know, when shows have a couple of squash matches, some good character building moments, and then a nice solid main event, or a good opener and then a solid main event, stuff like that. It's just classic wrestling TV, and it just feels like wrestling, and I enjoyed it a lot. And the studio promos too. It just what's old is new again, man. Like, it was nice to see that kind of promo, because you don't get that kind of promo anymore. Even when they do like the interview type promos in WWE, it doesn't feel the same as that did, because they're actually on that stage in front of the crowd. And, you know, let me tell you something, brother.
Right down the limb.
It was great. I really enjoyed, especially Eli Drake and Nick Aldis. I felt like they're built for that, man. Just built for it.
Absolutely.
Eddie Kingston's was good too. I enjoyed Eddie Kingston's. It was like a little different.
What's the business behind this? Because it's on free on YouTube. Like, how do they make money off this? Is this on a network anywhere in America? What's going on?
No TV. They had ads though on it, and they monetized it on YouTube as well.
Oh, I didn't see any ads, and I was just playing it off my phone.
There was that ad for a wrestling school. You didn't see that?
Oh, I thought that was a spoof. Was that a real ad?
Austin.
Was it a spoof? I don't know. Have you been to I didn't go to the website. I just assumed it was real, but done in the style of a spoof. Does anyone remember what the website was?
Austin Idol thing. Austin Idol Wrestling School, that thing. Yeah, I thought Austin Idol was a young guy. Yeah. Like, it's a name I've heard, and when this guy turned up, I Googled him, and it's like, okay, that's that guy.
So, universalwrestlingcollege.com is indeed a real website, and you can sign up. It looks like it was made on GeoCities, which is amazing. There's breaking news up the top here. You got mission coaches. Let's see who's coaching. Austin Idol and Jeff Lewis. They're the coaches that Jeff Lewis Neal. They're the coaches that you'll get if you go to Universal Wrestling College. It's a real advertiser.
Were you guys familiar with all the wrestlers? Because I knew James Storm, Nick Aldis, and Eddie Kingston, but I'd never even heard of any of these other guys.
Well, you knew James Storm as well.
Didn't I?
Yep.
Oh, I thought you meant Tim Storm as well, who was in the NWA. You're not familiar with Tim Storm? The former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Yeah, he was. They played the video package, explained it like he was a teacher and stuff. But if you've been watching 10 Pounds of Gold, you'd be familiar with some of them. 10 Pounds of Gold is a really good YouTube series that NWA put out.
I'd love it if all these wrestlers with the last name Storm, like kayfabe, were part of a family. Lance Storm, Tony Storm, Tim Storm, James Storm.
That was the thing, like with Josephus calling out Storm, just like which one are you talking about?
Which one? That's where I was. I was so confused. Which one are you calling out, man? Give us a first name.
Because he's had like a bit of a feud going on with Tim Storm,
a major feud,
and then all of a sudden major feud with Tim Storm, and then all of a sudden James Storm comes out like, oh yeah, this works too.
You know what? Josephus. Okay, Josephus does not look like a star at all. Like he just doesn't.
No.
He has nothing about him that makes you think, I want to watch this guy. But that segment,
the running around the table like
hella
children,
entertaining. Like his whole thing, and then and then getting beat by James Storm in like 6 seconds. It was amazing. I was thoroughly entertained.
He doesn't have his spiritual advisor with him, so naturally he's just off his game.
Yeah. I'm interested to see Eddie Kingston. I'm guessing Eddie Kingston's teaming with Homicide in NWA. Is that what's happening?
The OGs, yeah, I imagine so.
Well, I was waiting for I've forgotten his name now. The other half of the OGs,
Eddie King, Hernandez. Yeah,
Hernandez. Yeah, I was waiting for Hernandez to show up, but he didn't. And I was just like, oh, okay, it's just King. It's just King and Homicide.
Are these NWA people allowed to work other promotions at all? What's their situation?
I'd imagine so.
I think so. I think that it's kind of like a little bit of a family. Like they're using guys from Championship Wrestling for Hollywood, right? Like the commentator is the commentator for Championship Wrestling for Hollywood. I proposed that they get together with all of the Fight TV brands, like IPW and in New Zealand and what Reality of Wrestling, Booker T's school and stuff. Like because there's a lot of like the NWA guys are sort of use like the lesser known indies, so not like your PWG, MLW. ROH level, like the level below, you know.
And you've got Jim Cornette there, and so was he in MLW as well?
And Jim Cornette.
Oh, okay.
He was, until he said a few things.
This whole show feels like Jim Cornette's wet dream, really, for wrestling in 2019.
Yeah, absolutely, you can tell just like he's absolutely giddy about this episode.
Yeah, but did you guys see The Rock? The Rock tweeted about it. The Rock was like, I came across this last night and really enjoyed it. Everyone did a really good job. Really proud of you guys. And so then Nick Aldis came back at him and was just like, hey, Rock, you've done a lot in your career, but you've never challenged for the 10 pounds of gold. And, you know, if you're interested, we're open for business.
Oh, can you imagine?
It'll never happen.
It'll never happen.
I thought it was because Eli Drake is doing his Rock impersonation. He did say, you bet your bottom dollar. Isn't that something was that part of The Rock's one of his catchphrases? I don't think I've ever
heard The Rock say that.
Okay. I feel like it was something Eli Drake's promo.
Eli Drake, he trained with The Rock on a Pain and Gain, the movie, so he got a lot of the cadence of Rock from there.
Yeah, Eli Drake has a lot of Rock-ish mannerisms, definitely.
Yeah.
But I would love to see The Rock show up in NWA studio wrestling, but like first off, okay, you can't have The Rock lose that match. Like it's
no,
and so it'll never happen. But could you imagine if Rock was interested? Like, could you imagine the fit that Vince McMahon would throw?
Yeah, it's be the exact same thing as how they handled Cody winning the world title and then Aldis winning it back. So just that history link with AEW and keeping it current, and just it would be a little. It would change back as quick as he won it, essentially.
What's the likelihood, do we think? Or like percentage chance? Percentage chance. What's the percentage chance that we see The Rock on NWA Power fighting for the 10 pounds of gold?
0.5%. Maybe I don't know. I'm going to say it's low. If he's got nothing better,
I'd give it a 5 to 10% chance because he loves wrestling.
I give it a 5 to make an appearance. Like, if it's for a match, I'm going to say like a 2.
Yeah, because Jim Cornette did just offer him tickets. So if we were to just see him in the crowd,
I'm sure he's hard up a few bucks, isn't
he? Yeah. Well, that's the story, though. The more rich and famous you get, the more free shit you get.
Mm.
You know?
How many episodes is this all taped in advance? Like, have they done like weeks
they
and weeks
did
worth of shows?
about 5-6 weeks worth of tapings in for that 2 days. So this is like the first episode so far.
Yeah, and they've got another 2 days coming up in November. So they're banking them up, man. They're banking them up. Yeah. But I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm enjoying NWA Power. I also really, really enjoyed AEW Dark. Did anyone else watch AEW Dark?
No, I didn't see this. What
absolutely.
happened? How was the presentation? Did they have commentary? Anything like that?
Yeah. So it was the same commentary as I mean, obviously they're commentating live to tape, right? When they're live on air, and then for the dark match before the show and the 2 dark matches after, or 3 dark matches, whatever it was, they just stayed at their desk and they commentated as per usual, and then they it would throw to Tony Schiavone in the control center. And he did little breakdowns in between of like hyping some stuff up, like Private Party versus Young Bucks for Dynamite this week and all that sort of stuff in the studio. And then he'd go to the next match. And it's a really good presentation. It makes good use of, it's kind of like WWE main event almost, right? Like you recap a bit of stuff, you hype a bit of stuff, and then you show a couple of matches that only the crowd got to see. I really enjoyed it.
I love that control center. Like, I'm convinced it's real.
It's not real. It's CGI.
Damn it.
CGI. I know you want it to be real so you can go there one day, but it's just not real. It's literally him standing in his bedroom with a green screen.
Well, if nothing else, he looks very good doing it. And just it was 1 pre-show match and 3 after the debut of Chris Jericho's faction, which we'll probably talk about later. But yeah,
so we got the SCU versus Jungle Express, Jurassic Express, rematch. They had Shima versus Darby Allin was probably my favorite match of the lot.
So that was the one that got him into the title contention, the number 1 contender match, because he won that. Yeah.
There was also a women's tag match. I want to say it was B Priestley and Penelope Ford.
Yes.
Taking on, was it Britt Baker? Oh man, my memory's blanking because this was almost a week ago at this point.
It does feel like it, hey.
Just with the amount of wrestling I've watched. I know it was actually only probably a couple of days ago, but it feels like it was a week ago. But they had a women's tag match and another match as well. So I'm forgetting what they were. I should have it in front of me, but I don't. But what I do have in front of me is AEW Dynamite, which happened today. We all watched it. This was a show, man. I'm loving Dynamite.
Second better than the first, absolutely. And just I only got to see a little bit one up on my lunch break, but just I saw the promo that Chris Jericho did, and that's one of my favorite that he's ever done.
Let's just put a pin in that for a second. I've got a little musical interlude for us.
Okay.
Bad boys, what you want, what you gonna do? When Chevy don't come for you.
Bad boy, what you gonna do? Inner Circle. That's the name of the band. It's also the name of the stable, the 5-man stable of bad guys that are kind of running shit in AEW.
Absolutely. Coming on strong.
They launched a shirt straight away and it crashed the shopaew.com website, which by the way is just Pro Wrestling Tees. But Pro Wrestling Tees crashed during this week's AEW Dynamite.
It was big. And yeah, I don't blame them. Just like the design as well. Like we're talking about how with NXT, how they just randomly would put on designs, and that's the gimmick with being the elite, like just all these random design shirts. But no, they've put some thought and care into this, and yeah, I want to buy it. This Inner Circle
shirt is nice, man. I would buy it. It's kind of Illuminati-esque symbolism.
It reminds me of Batista got a new tattoo on his chest, like kind of like the Eye of Horus, kind of like that symbol.
Yeah, there's some symbology at work there. There definitely is. Jericho's a smart dude. But that fucking promo where he introduced them, I was going back and forth with someone on Twitter, and I gave up at a certain point because I was just like, this person's dumb. Like, I don't know what their @username is. Go look at my shit if you want to see it. But it was, the guy was like, oh, I just don't get what ties these 5 together. And I'm like, Jericho literally just spelled it out. He is assembling a group of killers to surround himself, basically as a wall between anyone else and his title, right? Like that's the base. It's basic heel stable 101. And Jericho said, like, I got a bunch of killers. And I'm guessing Sammy Guevara is not really a killer, but I'm guessing Sammy Guevara is the guy that he looks at and he's like, I see a bit of me in this cocky young prick.
I see a bit of Alex Wright in Sammy Guevara. His leather jacket and his hairstyle.
And his Calvin Klein's showing above his tights.
But Jake Hager's eyes darting around. Not as bad as
when they came out. When they came out, I tweeted a rock star, 2 gangsters, a college freshman, and a street artist walk into a bar. Like they do look like a bit of a mismatch. But when Jericho explained it, it's like, oh, okay, Hager's an MMA killer. LAX or Santana and Ortiz are just straight up killers, thugs, right? Like that's been their character forever.
Yeah.
It makes, and then you've got the cocky young kid who's kind of like a young Jericho. It makes perfect sense as a stable.
So I'm not a huge fan of Jericho,
like a natural fit.
But him being world champion now makes sense after this promo because I couldn't see what Hangman Page would be doing if he'd won it initially and leading company at the moment.
Yeah, no. 110%. 110%. In hindsight, definitely Jericho was the right guy. And I defended it when it happened too. I was like, I just didn't like that Hangman, that he kicked out of Hangman's finisher. That was the only thing I didn't like about that match where he became champion. But it's definitely the right choice having Jericho as champion. And I think we mentioned it last week when Jake Hager debuted. And the crowd were chanting "We the People," and I said it seems uncharacteristic for an AEW crowd to be chanting "We the People" because it's a WWE chant, and like the AEW audience generally aren't the type to do that. Like they're like, let's see what this character's going to give us. But they were chanting "We the People," and Jericho shut that shit down like a pro.
I don't think we'll hear him do that again now.
No, he killed it dead. That was bad creative. That's not happening here. Oh!
They just had to acknowledge it and now they move on.
Yeah, exactly.
They need to give him some new catchphrase and then they'll be all on board. Oh, this crowd just want to cheer anything positive for AEW. They really do.
Yeah.
They really do, yeah.
It's them trying to be positive to Hager, but they're coming off as just like smarky as from his WWE days. But just how Jericho was able to weave like a couple ribs at WWE, the fact that he gave a little tribute to Eddie Guerrero because it was his birthday over there yesterday.
That was nice. Yeah.
The Viva La Raza, I thought that was pretty cool. And it was just so natural. And you could tell it was just like he had a good long think about how he was going to work all this out and just off the cuff with like just telling the crowd, just like, no, stop it with "We the People."
Yeah. It was great because like they started chanting it and he's like, okay, hold on. And it was like you saw him take a second on the spot to be like, what am I going to say to this? Because I need them to stop chanting "We the People." It's the second week in a row they've done it. Like, because he was in the middle of a sentence and he said, okay, hold on. Right?
Yeah.
And he like walked around for a second and then he came out with what he came out with. And it was like, you would never, and I know they're not at war, right? It's not a war. We're just going to put on the best show we can. Whatever. Okay, whatever. Put all that to the side. You would never, ever see that in WWE today.
No. Just
like off the cuff, actual reaction to the audience.
I think the closest I can think of it, like with the other way around, is like when Shane McMahon was calling himself the best in the world. Like you get the CM Punk chants, and like at first, like he kind of like didn't know how to react to it, and he'd kind of like, please, like just he shrug it off. Like that's the closest thing you're ever going to get.
He's not going to get fired if he goes off script.
Exactly.
He's Shane McMahon.
Nepotism.
Yeah.
Triple H does it as well.
Yeah. Triple H can do it. There's a very select few who can do it in WWE. Even now, like to the point where like, you know, they give Ric Flair a microphone and they have the button ready to play someone's music to come out and interfere because they don't want to script Ric Flair, but they also don't want to let him speak. WWE is a fascinating beast. But no, the crowd wanting to be positive is such a huge aspect of AEW that I'm really enjoying. And the crowd have been raucous and ready to roll for both of these shows in different places, obviously. So it's different crowds. And I'm hoping it continues because the hot crowd makes it come across like I feel more hyped watching AEW than I do watching any other wrestling show in years. And Kevin Smith, who was at the first show, obviously Kevin Smith, Jay and Silent Bob, he was on the Rich Eisen show this week with Chris Jericho talking about the movie, and they mentioned that he went to AEW, and he was talking about how the crowd was amazing. Like, it's like nothing else I've ever seen. It's like they're like the extra character in this story that's playing out. It's amazing.
And it's just, I love their little segment on the Being the Elite, how they're trying to do the whole Jurassic Express, put each other on your shoulders, and it just like their back went out. Like, oh shit!
Yeah. Kevin's a little bit old to be doing that. No, but did you also see that they were supposed to go to SmackDown? Two nights later, they were supposed to go and hype up their movie on SmackDown, and WWE uninvited them because they were on AEW Dynamite.
They're the casualties of war. That's essentially what.
Jay and Silent Bob, the first to fall in the Wednesday Night Wars. R.I.P.
May God rest their soul.
I just thought that was, like, that's petty. If you have a guest booked, don't unbook them because they showed up somewhere else. Like, unless they showed up on, like, I don't know, Nazis Are Us podcast, like, you know, maybe then. But it's just...
Or if they slagged off WWE, if they did something like that.
Yeah, although I guess if it was Vince McMahon and they showed up on Nazis Are Us podcast, he'd be like, welcome, bruh. Sorry.
I've got a question.
So
AEW, they weren't allowing any like negative signs, or was it shirts or signs towards WWE? Yeah, and then Jericho says that bad creative thing. Do you think that's just a one-off, or they're going to keep?
It's one of those things. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, I think it's just more of like a natural thing just with the crowd, but as a general rule, like they're just trying to do their own thing, like, and yeah, anything. I'm trying to remember the press release about this, how it's saying nothing negative about WWE and nothing like no political statements, no swearing or anything like that. That was the basis for the signs while you're in the arena.
Yeah, but I think that in general, it seems like the sort of the backstage environment at AEW is not one of micromanagement. It's like, here's our overall goal. Here's what you're doing. Here's what you're doing. Go out and do it. And then Jericho obviously has license to react as he wants to in that moment. And he just did what Jericho does, right? And he took the shot. But I think that's purely a Jericho shot. That's not AEW taking shots at WWE.
No.
And that's something that I think people need to, like, people will come to realize, like, if WWE had to take some kind of veiled shot at AEW, like when Triple H did it, no one thinks that's WWE taking a shot at AEW. It's Triple H doing it, right? But when Jericho does it on AEW, it's like, oh, AEW shooting shots fired across the bow. No. It's just Jericho doing what Jericho does. That's all it is.
Like, I don't expect Tony Khan to just be like, that's it, you've lost the title, I don't see him like that as neurotic as Vince McMahon, like when something doesn't go his way. Just, yeah.
No,
what did you think?
The crowd, so
yeah.
When Jericho had his promo and he said Dusty Rhodes was shit or something like that. Like, just when he said that, it looked like he didn't want to say it, or just his voice, it sort of cracked in a way.
He said it. He said it a few times now. Like, he said it in different promos, like on the Being the Elite and stuff. Like, I think because he kind of realized, like, he said that I don't like your mom, I don't like your dad, I don't like your brother. Like, he said it a few times now, and I think he kind of caught himself out on it, just like, oh shit, it's the same promo. Like, oh, course correct.
Okay, it seemed like he didn't want to. He wasn't comfortable saying it when he said it tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think it is more likely that he was just like, oh shit, I'm repeating material.
Yeah.
I'm getting lazy. Yeah. But you know what else happened on AEW that just blew my fucking mind?
Mm-hmm.
Private Party knocking out the Young Bucks in the first round of the tag title tournament. Who saw that one coming?
I did. No.
Wait, really? You guys both saw that coming? I thought that they'd have a competitive match and that the Bucks would win in the end, but you know, these guys get put over in their loss. But you know, like has happened multiple times. They won. The Bucks took the pin.
Well, I don't see the Bucks, Cody or Kenny getting these huge wins in the first few months of AEW because you know whatever producers stuff. I don't. You know, if they're just booking themselves to win everything, then I think a lot of people would hate that, myself included. So I expect them to lose quite a bit at the start.
I was thinking with their match at House of Glory 8 or something or other, where the Bucks
Yeah.
went over in that match against Private Party, and then like they made that as part of being the elite, just like, oh, we'll have this match one more time, and it was their second chance to prove themselves. And I could see it happening in just the whole stance of Young Bucks, like they don't want themselves to be booked to become the inaugural champions because they don't want that image. But I can, yeah, as Ben said, down the line, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, well, Private Party are made men now, and I don't think they need to win the tournament because they will always have that. Look, our first match on AEW TV, we knocked out the Young Bucks in the first tournament for the tag team titles. So I don't think they need to win the tournament, but should they? They're over.
No, I think they'd be
too.
better as chasers for the time being. I'm trying to think of in the brackets, like you've got, it's between Jurassic Express and the Lucha Brothers. Like I could see either of those teams beating Private Party to get into the finals.
Yeah. Yeah, Jurassic Express are over as hell as well. I think we're going to see Jurassic Express versus Dark Order in the final.
Yeah, that would.
I think that makes sense.
Character-wise, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, especially because like they're kind of establishing already that like at times the bigger groups, the bigger stars will have things to do outside the title. Now, whether you want the bigger matches, like Young Bucks obviously at the end of the show ended up in a brawl with Santana and Ortiz, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which we'll get to when we talk about the final match and the shenanigans that happened, which closed the show. But if the Young Bucks are going to go into some sort of a program with Santana and Ortiz potentially, like that match technically is going to be bigger than, say, Jurassic Express versus Dark Order, obviously.
Yeah.
So should you have the tag titles involved in the bigger match, or are we more of the theory that no, give the titles to the guys that don't that need it more so than the ones that don't?
Yeah, the latter. I think, and it's nice to have other tag team stories that don't revolve around the championship.
Oh hell yeah,
yeah,
because you don't get more than one tag team story in WWE.
No, God no.
Yeah.
And it's just like they want to, again, like their point is they want to focus on tag team wrestling. They want to focus on women's wrestling and all the things that, as a true alternative, all the things that we don't get anywhere else. So, yeah. I welcome it.
Well, the amount of stories that are happening in AEW concurrently is kind of amazing when you think about it.
Just like the different across all the various platforms, yeah, it's just amazing how
they
juggle.
Not just across the platforms, but just like within the roster, this person has reason to fight this person, or this person. So take Darby Allin for example, right? Darby Allin, he goes over Jimmy Havoc. Darby Allin, Jimmy Havoc, and Joey Janela have all had their clustermuck thing going on, right? So Darby Allin goes over Jimmy Havoc in this match, becoming a number one contender because of his record, right? So now he's going on to face Jericho next week, but then. He still has that draw in the past with Cody. So when Jericho beats Allen, Jericho has a new bragging point of, hey, Cody, you think you're going to be able to beat me at Full Gear? You couldn't even beat Darby Allin. So then you can get another Cody-Darby Allin match potentially to get Cody ready for full... Like, there's a lot of cross-pollination in these stories. When we get to the post-match attack at the end, like, there's people with stories, like Britt Baker has her whole story with B Priestley going on, but also now she's challenging Riho for the title. Like, there's a lot going on here. There's lots of stories happening and weaving seamlessly in and out of each other.
You have to think as well, like, they do eventually want to make some women's tag titles there. You have to think that's what they're working in at the moment, but they're going to wait until the men's one's all said and done, and then they can focus on the women's.
I hope they take some time for that, because their women's division is not as deep as you'd like it to be.
Not
and with
right
rumors
now,
of like Shotzi Blackheart signing to WWE, like she's someone that should have gone to AEW. Like there's, and it's only a rumor at this point. So, but like, you know, the WWE keeps signing so many phenomenal women. There's still plenty of talent out there, but like I worry that AEW won't have enough to fill a tag division.
Yeah, like I think as you mentioned, just like fresh in my mind, Shotzi is going to be part of Impact's build up to their Bound for Glory pay-per-view, but she's also going to be facing Kylie Ray, former AEW wrestler.
I love Shotzi Blackheart. I want her in AEW because I like her a lot, and I like AEW a lot at this point in time. So
it's hard not
NWA have a women's division too. So like there's a lot of competition out there at the moment, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just hard to imagine right now.
What else happened on Dynamite, man? They had Moxley and Sean Spears, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sean Spears, perennial jobber in AEW now. He's like
Poor guy.
He's like that upper mid card or upper mid card gatekeeper guy almost.
I don't know if I can see them going in different directions because I'm just harkening back to All Out where I could have sworn that was going to lead to him winning that match against Cody, and we're going to have that story of him being a top contender. So I'm not quite sure where they're working with him right now, what it's leading to at this point. But yeah, I agree. Upper mid carder at the moment, but if they book him right, I could see him being a foil for Cody in the heavyweight picture.
But he's just kind of losing all the time.
Yeah, that's the thing. If they were to give him a bit of a push, but again, I don't know what they're going for at the moment.
I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
He's got Tully there. He seems legitimate. He can absorb the losses, I think, for now. And he's completely shed this 10-10 thing from WWE, so you wouldn't even know the same guy
which is
if
good.
you hadn't been paying attention.
No, to me, the chairman gimmick did that for him, and that's great, and I love it. To me, I feel like he's more of a star than Jake Hager in my in terms of star quality to look at. I don't know why, but Jake Hager, maybe it is the eyes, like you said when they were cutting the promo. His eyes are kind of darting around, like he doesn't know what fucking camera to look at, and he just looks awkward. He doesn't look menacing. I get that he's huge and he can kill you, but he doesn't look like he wants to,
I feel like he's kind of reined in.
Sean Spears has the charisma somehow.
Yeah, he does.
I think he's just reined in, just otherwise he'll just deliver a random. I'm just trying to remember from his last Bellator fight, how he's just I have an erection right now. I'm just remembering those weird promos.
What about that? Jeez, that was funny.
Look, if that's the case, let him loose, man. Let him loose. That's good TV. That's good TV. I want to hear about JK's erections. We also got that after the John Moxley versus Sean Spears match, Kenny Omega comes out, right? Pac was on commentary. He's not Park anymore. He's Pac, which is weird. But yeah, Pac was on commentary, and then Kenny Omega comes out, and he's got a barbed wire baseball bat that he tosses to John Moxley, and he has a barbed wire broom. I fucking loved that. I popped for that so hard, especially because it has layers, man, because it was when you listen to the Mox interview on Talk Is Jericho, and he's talking about how they'd have him do the stupid shit with all the ambulance badges or the chasing Kane or whatever it was, and he had hot dog mustard
stand.
and
Little red wagon,
all that shit. Yeah, the little red wagon, that's right, all that shit. But then here he is going up against a guy who's wielding a barbed wire broom, which on paper is just as hokey, but fuck, it works.
It's just, I don't know how they just captured it right, and just all the happy circumstance with John Moxley's injury, coming back from it, and Kenny working on his new character, slowly working on that in the background, and yeah, I can't wait.
What's old is new again, because it looks like he's becoming somewhat of the cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
He's just getting started, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm definitely curious to see where the Kenny Omega character goes, but I love that moment. And we should talk about the close of the show. Second week in a row, Dynamite has ended in just absolute chaos.
Yeah.
It's feeling so much like WCW Nitro.
You think the whole lot is emptied. Okay, just more people just keep coming out. And here comes Darby Allin on the skateboard, just what the hell is going to happen next? It was pretty amazing.
So the show, I mean, this show was basically to establish the Inner Circle, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So they obviously they do their whole thing. They're attacking Goldust after the tag match, because we had that tag match as well. Of course, the main event was Jericho and Guevara against Hangman Page and Dustin Rhodes. The Natural Dustin Rhodes, and it was the Natural to me is Stevie Philippe. Anyway, so it was a great tag match. I really enjoyed the tag match. There were some really good moments in it, but ultimately, obviously, Jake Hager at ringside, you get the advantage, and they pick up the win, which is nice because he's the champion, so you want him to pick up the win relatively clean. And then the attacks start, and so it's 3-on-1. They're beating down Dustin Rhodes, and then Hangman comes back into it, and then who came out first? Was it Cody?
I think it was a very similar order to last week. Yeah.
The lights went out, right? And then Cody pops up, but then the numbers advantage get the best again. And then out comes MJF.
Mm.
And they did more teasing over this MJF turn, which they've teased this multiple times now. And he has the chair. And it was similar to in New Japan not too long ago when they were trying to get Cody to join Bullet Club OGs over the Elite, right?
Yeah.
And he had that big moment where he looked like he was about to hit Kenny with the chair, but instead he hit Tama Tonga. And this was basically the exact same moment, but with MJF and the Inner Circle being like, you can join us, bro, you can join us. And they give him the chair and like he's going to hit Cody, but then he turns it on them and he goes after them. And the place came unglued.
Mm-hmm.
That is wrestling TV. Like that moment, if there was anyone flicking the channel, right? Which who flicks channels anymore? But if there was anyone flicking the channel and they just scrubbing past and they see this guy hitting people with a chair and just all those people, 14,000 people going absolutely ballistic. They're like, this guy's a star. Who's this? What's this about? What's that scarf around his neck?
And you know, if this was WWE, he would have turned on Cody.
Probably
weeks ago.
Yeah, a while ago. But
teased it out.
But it to me, like MJF looked like a star. Like if you're watching this on TV and you'd never seen MJF before, because he was on last week's TV, so you've seen him last week.
Yeah,
he came across as a fucking megastar.
Did you see his Twitter afterwards?
So good.
Like he just loyalty, and I love
loyalty.
The Cody Rhodes just saying, I get that he's a bad guy, but he's my hand-selected project, and it's just,
and my best friend.
Friend.
So Cody even referring to MJF as best friend, or one of his best friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was good stuff, man. It was good stuff. That MJF moment was one of the best. And if he does turn eventually, when he does,
yep,
it'll be massive.
Oh, yeah.
The heat will be tremendous.
Then he fit him into like the number 1 or 2 heel, I suppose.
Yeah, well,
when if Jericho loses the title, MJF is up there.
Yeah, he will be. He absolutely will be. He's one of their guys, right? Like he's gonna be around for a long time. He's the future of AEW for sure. But he's not gonna be the face of AEW till Cody steps down because Cody's his best friend. I love it. I love everything that they're doing at the moment, man. But then after that, who else came out? Because the numbers advantage got the better again, and then the Young Bucks came out, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's when they got involved with Santana and Ortiz, and then things kind of cooled down. Jericho's backing up the stage, and like you said, you think it's over. You think they're about to go home, and then down comes Darby Allin on his fucking skateboard and takes out Jericho, like getting ready for next week. And it just made Darby Allin feel like a star too. And like, when was the last time you watched wrestling TV and were like, "Ooh, this guy's going to be a star"? Like, it happens sometimes, but it never gets followed up on.
It's not it only comes naturally in WWE, and it's not like they try and manufacture it. They just can't.
But then it's never followed up on, right? Like you see Rusev, and you're like, "Oh man, Rusev's got something, man. He's a star. Look at the crowd attaching to Rusev." But then it just gets shit on. Like it never becomes anything.
No.
But and I guess time will tell. We'll have to revisit this statement in a couple of months. But it feels like AEW are committed to actually building these guys as stars. Like everyone in that inner circle is way more important today than they were yesterday.
Yeah. It's incredible.
From one promo and one chaotic brawl. And all of a sudden, they're some of the most important guys in the company.
Do you think we'll get a name for Cody and his friends? Or are they just the elite, are they?
Yeah, they're the elite.
Don't you just love how Cody just
run shit.
weaseled his way into the Bucks and Kenny? Because they were the elite. Like, if you talk about like elite wrestlers, Cody is not one.
No. Well, but that's a story they can tell eventually too, you know? Like, I'm sure we'll get to that at some point, because eventually the elite all have to fight each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can't be friends forever if they're going to be the top guys in this promotion.
I don't think we're going to see a singles match between the Young Bucks.
No, the Young Bucks will be together forever.
Yeah.
But they have teased it on being the elite.
Have they?
Yeah, they've been teasing it. Like, I mean, obviously, like at the moment, they're doing this whole thing where Nick is designing awful shirts. Again, it's a nod to the NXT shirts. But Nick is designing these awful shirts, and Matt doesn't want to say anything, but Matt hates the shirts. And like they've had a few moments lately of miscommunication between them and stuff.
Have they ever had a singles match, not against each other, but singles against anybody else?
I don't know, actually.
Do we?
Surely one of them has been injured sometime in their tag team career, so the other one just not wrestled?
Let's look at cage match and see how far we have to scroll to get a singles match with either of them. Who wants to pull up Matt Jackson? I'll pull up Nick Jackson.
I'll let you guys do. I will say, because I remember for the last time I've like checked up their histories and stuff. Aside from tag gold, like they both held the iron metal weight, the DDT belt. That's their only like singles belt they've ever held. So it's never been a priority. It's always been the tag team wrestling, and if there's any friction, it's never like to split them up.
Can you filter on cage match by singles match?
I don't think I have never tried it, but
I don't think you can.
No.
Okay, I'm currently on page 3 for Nick Jackson, and I'm still only seeing. So I'm back in 2016, 2015 now. I'm only seeing tag team and multi-man.
And I think that's kind of the point, like why they stress tag team wrestling so much. It's just like, no, we're a buddy act or nothing.
They have to have had singles matches at some point in their career, surely. Here we go. In August 2007 at HPW, Guerrero de Sangre defeats Nick Jackson.
So that's what
Slick Nick defeats Sonny Sampson at HRW. Oh, that's when they did that's their backyard shit. When they were HRW, right? That's their backyard fed?
Yeah.
So he was Slick Nick. So I guess they've had singles matches. But I don't know. I'm just going to go to random pages and see. Like, let's go to page 5 here and have a look. Tag. Oh, Best of the Super Juniors. Nick Jackson was in the Best of the Super Juniors in 2014.
Okay.
So it has happened, yeah. But it's rare. Very rare. When you look at how many matches they've had in their career. Not a lot of singles matches. All right, so I don't know where that cut out. I'll find out when I edit it, but we had a bit of a crash there. While I fixed it, I did look up Matt Jackson as well. He was also in Best of the Super Juniors. But yeah, no, singles matches for both of these guys. Very rare.
I'm going to have to go back and look at some of those singles matches just to see how they go. They can't do all the double team high flying moves, can they?
Yeah, they're kind of inseparable in my mind. They're completely inseparable. That's why I can't imagine them having, ever breaking up. They're brothers too.
Yeah.
But overall, AEW Dynamite, big thumbs up from me again this week, man. And when it comes to, we'll talk about NXT after we let our quizmaster. Oh God, our quiz. The quiz is coming up. I'm going to keep stalling.
Oh no.
NXT was AEW. I felt like won the week again, and I'm very curious to see how the ratings shape up because obviously we're recording earlier this time, so we don't have the ratings yet. Although I'll refresh my feed and see because I am trying to. Hey, we've got ratings
already.
Sweet.
I think. Hang on. I've got NXT versus AEW Week 2 Raw ratings. God damn it! I hate it when they put multiple headlines in one thing. No, separate your articles. God damn it! Anyway,
do we want to make some predictions about the ratings? Since they're not out yet,
the ratings normally come out in the morning. I think that AEW will at least hold steady, maybe even increase a little, because there was a Major League Baseball game on last week that doesn't affect them this time. And NXT, I think, will hold steady as well. I don't think either of them are going to lose a whole lot of viewers.
In America, I saw that there was some baseball game. If it was going to run late, it was going to bump a Dynamite onto a different channel. Did that end up happening?
Yeah, but it didn't end up happening. TNT had plans in place. They were simulcasting on TBS and another channel as well. So there were 3 channels with the Dynamite feed for the first half of the show.
Predicting growth, maybe 80,000 viewers more.
Yeah, I think growth is likely. I really do.
A lot of word of mouth.
Especially after Sunday.
Yeah. People threatening to turn off after the Hell in a Cell, but we'll get to that after the break. First, oh God.
Well,
It's time for our quiz. Let me hit the music.
well, I had trouble coming up with a good buzz in, so I've kept it simple for this one. So
Oh, thank God.
the buzz in is buzz, and just say something you like about professional wrestling. Does that sound too
No, that's
distressing?
easy. That's good.
That's
good.
cool. That's cool.
Or I'm going to be upset if you struggle to come up with something. Okay, now I've got a bunch of questions here. Now, which order would be the funniest way?
Is there a theme this week? Is there a theme to the quiz?
It's
I
going
know
to
you
be
like to
very
be
apparent
thematic.
what the theme is. Okay,
Okay.
question
Okay.
number 1. Name 2 members of the NWA. And this is not the wrestling NWA.
Oh. I should have listened to the rest of the question.
Can I steal then?
Yeah.
Do I have your permission, Mysterious, to jump in?
Or, like, when you say the N
No,
of the
he's
NWA,
stolen.
what do you mean? Just
I'm not saying the N-word. It's the N-word with attitude.
okay. Oh,
Drop
okay.
kicks.
All right.
Bzz.
Okay.
Drop kicks. I like drop kicks. That's what I like about pro wrestling.
Okay.
Ice Cube and Eazy-E.
Well done. Okay.
Okay.
Easy. Oh, you're off to a good start, Greg.
Yes.
It's only downhill from here.
I should have said
Okay.
MC Ren, just so people are like, wait, what? Yeah, MC
there's
Ren. Right?
There's some other names on here was DJ Yeller, Arabian
DJ
Prince,
Yeller.
the
Oh, yeah.
DOC, and Dr. Dre. So
Dr.
I
Dre,
only would have
yeah.
been able to guess
Yeah.
Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, I think. Okay.
Mhm.
Question number 2. From which city was the NWA formed?
Bzz. I like promos like down the lens, like we saw on the latest NWA Power. I'm gonna say Atlanta, Georgia.
No, it's the city of...
No, it's the other NWA, the rap group.
Yeah, so...
Oh, God damn it! I thought we were still changing over. Come on, man.
Pay attention, man. Pay attention. All right,
Oh.
sweet.
Yeah, what do you like about wrestling?
Strategically used blood.
Okay. I'll accept.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Oh, I want more of that. that was my Young Bucks impression. Yeah. So, it would be the city of Compton.
Correct. Oh, 2-0.
I like this.
I have to
quiz.
listen.
I like this.
I need to
quiz a
start
lot.
listening to this now. Jesus.
All
All
right.
right.
You have to buzz in quick on this one. I struggled a bit for these questions. Question 3. The biopic about the NWA is titled what?
Bzz.
Bzz.
I buzzed first. This is my quiz, baby. I got this in the bag. I also like promos. Can I say that?
Come on, give me something better than that.
Yeah.
Well, like, okay, PWA video packages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? Specifically. PWA and OTT as well. Their ones are really good.
Yeah, those are fantastic.
It was called Straight Outta Compton.
Correct.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna have to
Love that
make
movie.
3-0. I better make double points for these last ones just so I can make this.
Oh, we'll see what happens.
like
We'll see what happens.
No.
I like that. More rap quizzes, please.
Okay. So we're moving a little bit away from the NWA here, but we're still staying down
Thank
that
God.
path.
God damn it.
WWE Hall of Famer Snoop Dogg is the cousin of which WWE superstar?
Bzz.
Bzz.
Greg?
I think I got in first that
Did you-
time.
No.
No, I got in. I heard me first.
Who'd you hear,
I
Ben?
heard Greg. Can we go to
You
instant
heard Greg?
replay?
Okay.
Look, no, well, we can look at the waveforms. If we look at the waveforms, you see my bzz, and then you see your bzz. That was definitely me. It's very close.
Okay.
It is very close. So something else I like about pro wrestling,
Mhm.
The spontaneity when it's like Jericho, right? Just being able to go off the cuff and interact with the crowd. I love that
Mhm.
shit, right? And when you're there live, and like a wrestler interacts with you, like Jack Bonza called me fat, you know. I love that. I do. No hard feelings, Bonza. Now, what was the question? Right, Sasha Banks.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, 4-0. This
Got
last
it.
question's worth 5 points.
I need to put in a stinger here of your time is up, my time is now.
You Can't See Me is the studio album released by John Cena and who?
Bzz.
Greg?
Something else I like about pro wrestling. It sounds like an easy question. Something I like about pro wrestling. I just like all of it. What? In New Japan Pro Wrestling, I feel like they equally. Well, there's no women in New Japan Pro Wrestling. but they objectify the men, right? Like, it's sexy men. Wrestling is sexy, and
Stupid
like,
sexy men.
male sexuality is repressed in our society in certain ways, I feel, and so I'm a big fan of open sexuality and men just being unashamedly sexy, like Tanahashi. That's
Did
a
you
sexy
see that
man,
photo
you know?
of Sho, Yo, Will Ospreay, and Okada in the
and in a bathtub? Yes, that kind of thing. That's what I'm talking about, man. Wrestlers are sexy. Wrestling is sexy. That's what I like about wrestling, that it's sexy. And the person who is on the album with John Cena would be the Trademark.
correct
With a C.
9-0 with that
My God.
5-point
Boom goes
bonus.
the Dynamite.
It was
I
bound to
won
happen.
one.
Oh.
Congratulations, Greg.
Clean sweep.
Oh,
I want more quizzes about rap music, please.
yes,
You've exposed my weakness and my lack of hip hop knowledge. My
I love that
apologies,
you
guys.
answered the city with Atlanta.
I just thought we were going to okay, we do one for the hip hop group, and then okay, we're actually going to talk about the NWA. And I thought, yes, I'm back. Oh my God.
Oh man, I'm glad you buzzed first, because no, I was always going to say City of Compton, but if he went the other way with it, I was going to be pissed.
Mm.
That was great, man. And it's funny too, because I know I sent you a playlist link earlier this week of WrestlePunk. I discovered recently an entire genre of music that is bands that play punk music, like bad punk music, like garage punk music, about wrestling.
Very niche.
Yeah, so there's like a band called the B Plus Players, and they have a song about Daniel Bryan. There's a band called the Luchagors, and they're like a horror punk
Isn't that Leader's band?
luchador band.
It's the Lucha something,
Is it?
isn't it?
If it's Leader's band, I didn't know this, but either way, it's amazing. And there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them. I can't think of the names. There was one called Cheap Pop that stuck in my head. There's a band called Cheap Pop. And there's songs like The Ballad of Mrs. Foley's Baby Boy, and it's amazing. It's just awful punk music.
There was some band I listened to, and they had a whole album about
Oh, sweet.
wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lucha Goals.
But
Yeah, that's
so
Leader's band.
this got me inspired, because obviously I do the station head thing where sometimes I'll talk about wrestling while I'm spinning tracks and preparing for shows and stuff. And I was like, gee, I mean, I know there's lots of rap that references wrestling as well, right? Like, I mean, you had Offset with Ric Flair Drip, right? And Ric Flair is commonly sampled, like people do the woo Ric Flair a lot in songs. And so I started looking up rap specifically about wrestling. There's a lot of it. Mega Ran, who is also a geek rapper, who I'm a big fan of Mega Ran. He does.
Oh yeah. Was he on All In, or was it one of those? Wasn't it?
He was on. He did a song for Ring of Honor.
But Mega Ran, didn't Bully Ray come out? No.
Yeah.
The G1 Supercard. Mega Ran had a thing, and Bully Ray abused him, whipped him with his
Bully Ray
belt or
abused him,
something.
Yeah, so Mega Ran's a geek rapper, and that's how I knew Mega Ran. Like he like raps over 8-bit beats and stuff, and he is a huge wrestling fan. He has a wrestling podcast called Matt Mania, but he also released 2 albums called Matt Mania and Matt Mania Revenge, and there's like remixes of the NWO theme and stuff. Man, it's dope as hell.
Yeah, I've listened
So
to one of them before,
if you like wrestling themed rap music or punk music, tune into Station Head, man, because I'm going to be spinning those tracks a lot now. It's amazing. Changed my life. Thank you for a music quiz. I'm very happy today.
Well, rap and hip hop is certainly my weakest subject with music, so it was a bit hard coming up with this.
It was enjoyable. If you ever need help crafting a rap quiz, let me know. But thanks so much
Ben.
for joining us again, as you do, Ben, Quizmaster. No longer of collusion. No longer.
I'm gracious in defeat, guys.
Thanks,
Glad you
Congratulations,
enjoyed
Greg.
that.
Let's listen to. You're not going to call collusion on us. I sweep the floor with you, and you're going to be gracious. You're going to make me look bad. All right. Let's listen to some ads. Let's be honest. Pay some bills, right? And then we'll come back with the WWE talk after the break.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B Plus podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/thebplus and subscribe today. Hey everyone, just want to take a second to tell you about one of our new sponsors, OUTBREAK NUTRITION. OUTBREAK NUTRITION are creating supplements for survival, sharper minds, quicker reflexes, all the energy you need to take your performance to the next level, whether that be on the field, in the gym, on the gaming field. That's right, they have specifically designed gaming supplements as well to help you focus on those late night sessions. They even sell coffee, you guys, at OUTBREAK NUTRITION. You can get coffee pods, you can get coffee beans, you can get supplements for the bedroom as well if you want to enhance your performance there. These are performance enhancing supplements for every aspect of your life, specifically designed by gamers, for gamers, to stay fit and healthy in the gym, to stay sharp and focused on the game, and to dominate in all areas of life. So check out OUTBREAKNutrition.com, and for being a listener of our podcast, they will give you 10% off your order when you enter the code B Plus. That is BPLUS at checkout. So make sure, if you want to stay on top of your game, if you want to take your performance to the next level, OUTBREAKNutrition.com, enter the code B Plus at checkout. And we're back after my amazing, incredible, never before seen, unprecedented, historic victory over Mr. Mysterious in the B Plus quiz. It's time to talk the other half of the Wednesday Night War. I kind of buried the lead a little. Oh, no, I didn't bury the lead. I can never get that expression right. I said before the break, I felt like AEW won the week. But let's take a look at NXT and...
let's see if they actually did or not.
Well, look, again, I feel like it's the same as week one. In-ring action. I felt like AEW this week was better for in-ring action than it was in week one. But NXT, I mean, NXT deliver the goods, man. They do. And next week's NXT looks like it's going to do the same thing. Like, it looks like Triple H's strategy is, let's just throw out ridiculously good wrestlers. Like on this episode, we got Isaiah Swerve Scott, right? Formerly known
Swerve Shane
Strickland. We got him versus Roderick Strong. Like, that's a baseline 4-star match, you know? Like, the second they get in the ring, it's like, okay, these guys are such good wrestlers that there is no way this can dip below 3.5. There's no way. There's no way it can dip below 3.5. That's if someone fucks up monumentally.
And that kind of, like, the fact that Swerve was put on 205 Live and the start of the NXT as well kind of doesn't bode well for how much longer 205 Live is around if it's stopped altogether by this point.
So we also got Drew Gulak versus Leo Rush for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, right? We got Volta versus Kushida. So, of course, when you're looking at the in-ring bell-to-bell action, once again, you got to give it to NXT. You have to. But that's not what wrestling's about for me. I mean, we just had a quiz where we had to buzz and say what we like, and the only in-ring thing I mentioned was drop kicks.
Yeah, like we are in the work rate era of professional wrestling. Like, by WWE have created the work rate era, but like,
I'd say Ring of Honor created
it's just a matter. Yeah.
New Japan and Ring of Honor. Yeah,
it depends which federation. But my point is just because everyone are aiming to do that as well. Like, you need to stand out more with your storytelling more so.
So AEW have it on the storytelling, but we also got so those were the three main matches that we got. Let's talk about Leo Rush is the new NXT Cruiserweight Champion. How happy are we, man?
When I looked it up on WWE.com on my lunch break, saying after he returned from sabbatical, that was their excuse.
We've been big Leo Rush champions for a long time here at the B Plus podcast. We think he's phenomenal. He's a great talent. He's a great talker. The man of the hour. And now he has some silver, not some gold, but he has some silver to go along with it.
But you mentioned, though, like, how long before they revamp the belt to a gold visage for him and for NXT.
Yeah, well, they have to get rid of that big W that's in the middle of it because they're calling it the NXT Cruiserweight title. So you're going to have to get rid of that W, man. So, yeah, I could see it going gold because he is... that's kind of his thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Man of the hour. He's won the Cruiserweight title. Very happy for him. It's a dream come true for him, obviously. Drew Gulak. What's next for Drew Gulak now?
He's had this, like, because he turned heel to get the belt, and he's had this, like, his whole storyline, if you can call it that, was just like, forget 205 Live, I'm focusing on me, and I'm just trying to remember the 205 Live storylines going forward, and it's just, if you don't follow through with whatever they were doing before, it might be a big refresh.
Are you ready
honestly.
for my pitch?
Go
you
for
draft him to Raw. Third man for the Revival.
Ooh. Okay. Well, how much longer do the Revival in contract
I don't know.
for, though?
I don't know,
That's
but
the
you
thing.
didn't see that coming, did you?
No.
You make him the third man for the Revival with the idea that we might lose Revival one day. We might. They might not be happy.
Yeah.
They might go. And we can keep the Revival trademark, and we can just give him a new partner when they leave, and we've still got the Revival, right? And he wrestles. He's no flips, just fists. That works for him.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
No flips, just holds, I guess. But I would like to see Drew Gulak with the Revival. I think that'd be a good three-man dynamic. And imagine the matches that they would have with the club, the OC.
Yeah, no, that'd be phenomenal. Like, you can just imagine, like, it'd be like their impact. Thank you. Their like impact with LAX. Like, you can tell eventually they're going to do a third generation of LAX. They're just waiting for the right moment. Second generation Revival. Sure,
Yeah,
why not?
Yeah, I would love to see that happen. I think the Revival is a great concept, and I think Drew Gulak fits it. So that's my fantasy booking for Drew Gulak. Or alternatively, go and work in Evolve and help the next generation because he's a great teacher. Is one Drew Gulak. So I could see him doing either of those things, but I would love to see him get a more prominent spot on Raw. I want to see more groups. I like groups in wrestling.
Yeah,
I should have said that.
Part of me thinks that they'll keep the 205 Live guys on NXT. And I don't think the draft will really apply to the NXT guys, honestly.
I think it will.
I think it's just...
I think we're going to see Matt Riddle go up to SmackDown.
It would be great if we did, but I was half thinking like last week they put the title on him at least once before he goes up or across. I need to change that across.
Yeah. Look, I see a time. I see a time in the future where NXT gets bigger ratings than Raw. They're not far off it, man. Raw did 1.6 last week, right? AEW was doing 1.4, and NXT was doing 800,000. So, but NXT in its first week did 1.1 million. So you could see it bumping up to 1.4, 1.6.
Eventually, sure. And just when people like the general casual wrestling fan kind of realizes like, oh, NXT is more accessible and everyone's raving about it, I suppose I should check it out. And yeah, I can see that it'll be gradual, but I can see it happen.
So we also got a Rhea Ripley squash match, so NXT gets points for that as well. Rhea Ripley, of course, big fan of Rhea Ripley, formerly Demi Bennett here in Adelaide, and she's amazing, and she's just fucking jacked, dude, and she's a star, and she goes out there and she squashes Aaliyah, and she's like, yo, Shayna Baszler, you've been the most dominant champion in NXT women's history. I'll give you that, yeah, sure, but I'm coming for you. Like, you haven't faced me. And Rhea Ripley could actually be the one to dethrone Shayna Baszler.
We always say we always think, oh, this person will go up, will beat Shayna. This person will beat Shayna. But I think now with the draft coming, and I reckon Shayna would work well with SmackDown with that whole sports centric thing. Yeah, Rhea, I'm all for it.
This is why Shayna Baszler is the best women's champion NXT has ever had, because every takeover, every big match that she has, every title match that she has, it's always like, oh, look, she's ready to go up. This has to be the time. But also, Like when she has her matches, like you believe anyone could beat her at any time because she's ready to go up. And in the matches, they give you the hope spots and they really make you think this might be it, she might lose. But she always manages to just fucking dominate and be dominant, but also the person who could lose any one of these matches. It's incredible. I don't know how she does it. She may actually be the most fascinating woman in wrestling right now, Shayna Baszler.
Oh God, yeah.
And I love her style too. I'm biased because I love catch wrestling. And she's one of, I'm pretty sure she's one of Billy Robinson's last disciples, right? Did she train under Billy Robinson?
I feel like I'd have to check Cage Match, but I feel like she did, yeah.
I'm looking it up now, man.
Yeah. But, both Shayna and Rhea, like, they're known around Australia. Like, Shayna did a couple tours, like, in WA a few years before she signed with NXT, and just, yeah, I think they're both doing amazing work right now, and we're just waiting for the title change. Like, it's just, the reign's been incredible. Just when you think it's going to end, it doesn't.
Yes, that's right. She's one of Billy Robinson's last disciples. So, I mean, I'm biased there, obviously, because she wrestles in that style that I love, all the limb manipulation. But, like you said, she could lose it at any time. I don't know, it's just been an incredible reign. I love Shayna Baszler. I need to get me a Queen of Spades shirt, man. I really do. I haven't bought a WWE shirt in a long time, you know?
Yeah.
I think she's earned it. She's earned my 20 cents or whatever she gets out of the $80 I spend on a WWE shirt. But Rhea Ripley, man. Rhea Ripley is going to be challenging. It's fantastic. We also got Breezango getting squashed by the Forgotten Sons. That was a thing. Breezango just, look, when Tyler Breeze came back to NXT, I was like, this is great. And then Fandango came back too, and you're like, oh. And now they're just doing the exact same. They came out in construction gear, and Beth Phoenix. Actually, I kind of popped for this. Beth Phoenix was just like, I can't remember the exact line, but it was something along the lines of, "I love construction workers. They're riveting." Oh, okay. Now, the thing about construction work, Moro, it's riveting. It was something like that. And I popped for it even though I shouldn't have. It was very groan-worthy. If Moro said it, I would have groaned. But yeah, they're doing their thing still, just being Breezango. And I wanted Tyler Breeze to grow beyond that. But, it is what it is. We also had Bianca Belair and Dakota Kai. Great competitive match. Bianca Belair is a fucking star, man. I love Bianca Belair. And like I said, Kushida and Volta in the main event, which you can't have a bad match with these guys. You just can't.
And it's just good to see Dakota Kai back as well.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Another one of ours, Evie. It's good to see her healthy and doing the team kick thing. And I think she could be in line for a push at any given moment as well. Because she was close to, like, she has some unresolved issues with Shayna Baszler, right? When Shayna was bullying her way back when.
Yeah. They're just a lot of things that they can like pick up on and just run with, like pad sounds the wrong word, but just to add some story as the weeks progress.
Yeah, what did you think of Velveteen Dream basically saying that Roderick Strong has a little dick?
I mean, he has like the whole creative artistry. I don't know.
Am I really meant to believe Vince McMahon's not involved? Like, they had a photo of Roderick Strong with the title covering his junk, and then they took away the belt, and there's like a little blur mark, to imply that it's a tiny. It felt so raw. It felt so, Chris Jericho putting the double D's next to Stephanie pre-boob job. It worked when Jericho did it that one time back in 1998 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But now it's like it's kind of hokey, right? And they do those Photoshop jobs, and it's kind of hokey and ridiculous, and it feels like Vince McMahon's fingerprints.
Part of me, I think it might have been like a post-it note or something that he left for Triple H. I don't know.
More little dicks. That's good shit. Give it to the queer black guy.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I wasn't a huge fan of that particular thing, but I was a big fan of Tommaso Ciampa and his interactions with the Undisputed Era. So there's a lot of good stuff to enjoy on NXT, particularly the in-ring action. If you're a big in-ring action person, if you're a bell-to-bell work rate person, I think NXT's winning the war for you. I'm a story guy, so AEW's 2-0 at this point.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, we don't know now, but I'm sure the ratings are going to definitely show that, like, come tomorrow or whenever this comes out.
Man, I wish we were recording on Saturday so that we could get the ratings, because I really want to know what the ratings were like and who won the week ratings wise, because I think some people may have swung back to NXT this week. Like, they checked out AEW last week and they watched NXT after, and they were like, oh, that had really good action, I'm going to go watch that next week. So I think there could be a swing, but I'm still predicting growth for AEW myself.
Yeah, like, I naturally, like, the reaction after Hell in a Cell, like, the natural reaction is like, oh, people will gravitate more towards AEW, but you can think, like, some fans will be like, no, I'll watch NXT more. Just, like, you can see, like, both fans kind of branching each way.
Yeah, so you touched on it. Let's talk about it. Hell in a Cell. That happened.
Oh, dear.
Show started well. Look, Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch, their match was incredible. It may actually be one of my favorite Hell in a Cell matches of all time.
It was a match of that night. It was definitely, I can't remember the last Hell in a Cell that grabbed me as much as that did, especially women's match.
Yeah, they had some creative spots, man, like the double knees on the ladder and stuff, and like there was a lot to really enjoy about that women's Hell in a Cell match that opened the show. And then the show was just like, there was still a couple of other good matches and good moments, but the rest of the show was kind of downhill until the catastrophic ending. But hats off to Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, man, because that was magical. Like, they really stole the fucking show.
They went that extra mile, and like you have like Sasha wasn't on Raw this week, and I think she might have like that
back injury.
Undisclosed injury. Like, we presume like might be a back or concussion. We don't know. But
apparently it's a back injury, and Bray Wyatt left. He wasn't cleared for Raw, even though he did a little dark segment. He wasn't cleared for Raw. He had a concussion. Allegedly.
Yeah, but no, I enjoyed that match, but that kind of was the start of like very like questionable like booking decisions, like, because I could have sworn like this is Sasha's time, like put the belt on her.
Yeah, and they linger on her crying and stuff, but like,
yeah,
she's meant to be the heel, and it's like, why? I'm feeling sorry for her. Surely I'm not supposed to feel sorry for the heel. And same with Bayley.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's something that they're gonna develop on, but
seemed like they were gonna. It was like a throwing shade to their how they were apparently acting around WrestleMania time, like crying on the floor, and I feel like they're going to try and bring that. Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then check me out, buddy. Like, I'm not here for that, you know. Anyway, we move on, and other things happened. I can't even remember. It's so long ago.
Titles changed. We have new women's tag team champions, the Kabuki Warriors.
Yes, the heel Kabuki Warriors using the green mist. I love the use of the mist, so I'm not even gonna. I don't care. Let them be heel. Go for it.
But it's just whatever. Like until like an hour before the show started, there was only 4 matches announced, and then they just threw that match together, and like all of a sudden, like, oh, you're facing the Kabuki Warriors, and all the heels now, and
that's why I don't care. I don't care, because look, here's the thing. If you don't care enough about your own fucking show that I don't know ahead of time, 3-4 days ahead of time, what matches I'm watching when I go in, I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't care, why should I care? It's a real slap in the face. It's, you know, and I talk about this with SmackDown. I felt like SmackDown just slapped me in the face as a wrestling fan. It was like, oh, you're a wrestling fan? You like wrestling? You like wrestlers? Fuck you, buddy. And just the fact that we go into Hell in a Cell. Like, we didn't even talk about Hell in a Cell last week because we forgot it was happening because they didn't care.
We focus on the season premieres of Raw and SmackDown on Fox and NXT going up.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I've heard apologist podcasts, right? I'm a big fan of Sam Roberts, not Sam Wrestling. I'm a big fan.
Yep.
But let's make no bones about it. He's a WWE apologist, right? I mean, first off, he's on the payroll. So, of course, he's going to be. He doesn't want to upset Vinnie Mac. He likes to get that paycheck. He's trying to get a flight in the private jet. I heard him ask Triple H. Anyway. The thing to me is, like, I've heard, and it wasn't just him, I've heard other podcasts that have come out and defended are like, oh, well, they had a lot on their plate. They're their big premiere week, and they've got a bunch of things coming up. And I'm just like, I don't care. You have one job.
Yeah.
Well, not really. It's a lot of jobs, but there's a lot of people doing it.
Yeah.
Surely, like you cannot excuse a company the size of WWE. You can't excuse them like, oh, well, they had their big premieres to worry about. Like, we'll get to it when we talk about Raw after Hell in a Cell. People telling me, oh, well, they're in a holding pattern, because they've got the big reset coming up. I'm sorry. That is a horse shit excuse. I don't okay, we tell stories here. We tell stories. And sometimes those stories don't matter because we're going to hit reset in a couple of weeks. Fuck you!
No.
If you don't care, I don't care.
And you just have to think, if it's not just a diehard family, if it's just a person who's haven't been just getting into professional wrestling, what does that say to them?
That's the thing. If people will become passionate about things that they can feel passion flowing through. And when you watch AEW, you feel the passion of the wrestlers, you feel the passion of the commentators, you feel the passion of the crowd. It's a passionate product, right? WWE is so passionless, it's ridiculous. Other than obviously the Mandingo storyline they've got going on with Lana and Bobby Lashley. There's lots of passion there. That's good shit. That's good shit. No.
No,
I don't care about Hell in a Cell. What else happened? There was so the women's tag team titles changed hands.
Melina came back. Not Melina.
Randy Orton had a decent match with Randy Orton and Ali. They had a good match.
They did.
I enjoyed that match.
Again,
Ali with the most creative RKO counter I've ever seen.
But again, you would have thought Ali, because the whole story was just Randy Orton ruined Ali's push, where it should have been where Kofi got that spot instead of Ali. And naturally, wouldn't you think Ali would get the win over Randy Orton? But I don't know. A lot of decisions, they're just thrown together.
Especially considering Randy Orton just said the N-word.
Exactly.
on live streaming. But no, it's, Cop Ali, all cops are bad. So I don't know. All I know is it was a good match. I enjoyed that match. I enjoyed the shit out of that match. And it takes a lot for me to enjoy Randy Orton matches. He's one of those guys that I just don't really necessarily get the appeal of hugely. So I really enjoyed that match, and that's saying something. But other than that, the big talking point from Hell in a Cell
was Hell in a Cell.
Was Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, taking on Seth Rollins. Now,
okay,
I feel like I just ranted.
You will start, yeah.
I don't know if I want to start again.
I'll just I was going to say before, Tamina came back from Hell in a Cell. She won the 24/7 title for 2 seconds, and R-Truth won it back. They had Funaki in there for some reason.
Right, yeah, that happened.
That happened. But no, just in the build-up, I'll ease you into it. What did you think of the lighting? The red light?
Difficult to watch. Hurt my eyes.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice mood for that at first, but then after that part, after 3 minutes or so, I'm just okay, I would rather that it just, it would give up already. But yeah, it started off, I love the back and forth to start it off with, how Bray's doing the Sister Abigail into the steel cage, and just the aggression was there. We had the entrance, everything that we come to expect from The Fiend, and then just there was a curb stomp, and there was another curb stomp, and another. And
everything we've come to expect from The Fiend, and then there was a 20-minute match.
Yeah.
The Fiend should not be having 20-minute matches, right? No. Because what happens in a lengthy match is you're going to have to let your opponent get some offense. You're going to have to sell.
Mm-hmm.
We can't believe that you're a supernatural entity. This is why Undertaker matches at the beginning of Undertaker stint were what they were, right?
Yeah.
Because he's a supernatural entity, he's not going to sell for you. And The Fiend, they built The Fiend up as this thing, and then they just destroyed what they built by being like, oh, let's have him take 1 million finishes. And it took 1 million finishes and a zillion weapons to put him down. And he still kicked out at 1. And the ref had to stop it, which was fucking stupid and ridiculous. We'll get to that in a sec.
Yeah.
But it's it kills The Fiend. right?
Yeah, and
He shouldn't be taking that offense at all.
no, and like
With the way he was built. That's the caveat. With the way he was built. I'm not saying I'm not a huge fan of characters that don't take any offense. But if you're gonna do the character, do it fucking right.
he's a murder clown. You would expect some kind of offense there.
Maybe someone watched Joker and they were like, "Oh, look, that guy took a beating throughout his life."
Oh dear.
Like, Vince, don't you understand? The beating happens before he becomes the murder clown. You already beat Bray Wyatt into this position. You already did that. You already did it.
We already had Randy Orton in the Wyatt family. We already had Broken Matt with Bray Wyatt. We
had worms on the floor
Yeah.
with the haunted house. This is where he's the murder clown now. It's time for him to fuck shit up.
And we didn't get it.
And instead, we get him taking a zillion finishes and this horror story of Seth Rollins having to tap into the darkness. And we don't get it, man. You just don't get it, Mysterious. Bray Wyatt doesn't care about titles. He just wants Seth Rollins to tap into the darkness. Well, why have a title match with this character?
They booked themselves into a corner.
You booked yourself into a fucking corner that you couldn't get out of without shitting on everyone who's invested in your product, without shitting on everyone who's invested in this character, without shitting on everyone who's invested in one of the most legendary match stipulations of all fucking time, which, I mean, you shit on anyway by having a yearly goddamn pay-per-view with the bullshit, and you shit on anyway last year with Brock Lesnar. By the way, it's never ended in a DQ before. Yeah, it has. Remember when Brock Lesnar came out and fucked shit up between Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck this fucking company.
And just the thing, like, before the match as well, like, Bray used his mallet, his comedy mallet, which is far bigger than a sledgehammer. And
Yeah. Harley Quinn's weapon, okay. Triple H's, not. Your gimmick infringement, disqualified.
and they've had, like, the referee, like, they've tried to rectify this by, thankfully, Seth wasn't on Raw this week, but they needed to address that on this week's Raw.
I have a different take. Yeah. Oh, no, I have the same take. Yeah, they should have addressed it on Raw, but they didn't. You know where they addressed it?
Online.
The bump.
Yeah, the bump.
The bump. Have you heard of the bump before?
I have not until I went through the notes.
We have a podcast about wrestling.
Yeah.
We are the hardcorest of hardcore ridiculous fans.
Yep.
That people joke about. That is us. I'd heard of the bump, but this is the second episode of the bump. It's an online stupid talk show with some people who I've never heard of before in my life, sitting there trying to be hip and cool with a brick background. It's like they're trying to be the Joe Rogan show that gets millions of views, but you're not. Mm-hmm. You're just not an interesting person. You're a fucking talking head, and you've got a fucking old man's hand up your asshole giving you your talking points. And what do? They read a statement from the referee. Why wasn't this read on Raw? Why didn't the referee give his statement on Raw? Why didn't he come out to open the show? Or if you want to be like, well, you don't open the show with it. That's called getting ratings. If everyone's talking about the thing that happened last night, you don't address it in the first segment because you want people to stick around to see what you have to say. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, sure. Why the fuck was The Rock in the opening of SmackDown?
Imagine if we did have the ref do that statement and then the Fiend attacked him.
Yeah.
That would have, like...
Murder Clown
pissed off that the match got stopped, and like that would help out a lot. It wouldn't kill the wounds completely, but it would help a lot.
It could have been somewhat salvaged.
Yeah.
You could have made something out of it. But instead what you did was you didn't mention the words Seth Rollins,
Universal
The Fiend,
title,
Bray Wyatt, Universal title. These words were not mentioned at all until 2 hours and 45 minutes into a 3-hour Raw. Right? That is insulting. To me, that says everything that came before is more important to you than your Universal title. If you don't care, why the fuck should I care? Why did you book this match if you didn't have a way out of it that made sense for the characters? Why do you expect me to care about your top title that you don't give a shit about because you don't talk? It was a controversial finish.
Yeah.
People weren't sure if it was a DQ or a ref stoppage. People weren't sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was controversial. There was controversy on Twitter. WWE tweeted the wrong thing. Then they deleted it. Then they tweeted the right thing. There's all sorts of controversy about it. And for the people who are like, yeah, but you don't address it in the first segment. Everyone was upset on Twitter because you didn't address it in the first segment. I'm not saying address it in the first segment. But when you open the show and the commentators are doing their talky bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you say we need to find out more about what happened last night? We're still in shock of what went down in the main event, but we have a show to get to, so we have to get to it. But we're going to try to find out what happened, and then halfway through the show, you bring out the ref, and we understand that we have a statement from the official. You know, do something, but don't just not say a word. They didn't, not even on commentary. It was not mentioned for 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's insulting.
And you mentioned announcements and deleting announcements. Like they booked that they were going to have this match again, like Survivor Series, but then like 5 minutes later they just
deleted it. Yeah. And they may have deleted it because Bray Wyatt was diagnosed with a concussion and he couldn't be on Raw. Maybe that's why they had nothing on Raw. Maybe they were scrambling at the last minute because they did have something, but Bray Wyatt can't compete, even though he then participated in the dark segment attacking, who was it? Cesaro, right, who got knocked out by Tyson Fury. But no, and so instead on Raw, you get the opening of the show. So the two most important segments are the open and the close, right?
Yeah.
And so you get the opening with a match that was announced an hour beforehand. We're going to see Randy Orton versus Rusev, right? Was that what it was?
Yeah, and King Corbin.
Something like that. And I don't care because they didn't care. They announced it an hour before the show. And so then you open the show and the match has already started. Oh, action is so hot here on Raw. Action's so hot. We're kicking off the show. They've already started because they couldn't wait. Okay, cool story, bro. That hasn't happened in years, but all right, let's go with it. That happened somehow. And then they just get rid of that match and have some interference and some weird shit with Bobby Lashley and Lana and Baron Corbin and Randy Orton laughing at poor cuckold Rusev standing in the ring, all but crying, watching his wife make out with another man in his own bed, which was clearly a hotel. Yeah, but whatever.
WWE production.
It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing television. And then the closing of the show was Tyson Fury, who I have confirmed with about 100 other wrestling fans that I've talked to. Mm-hmm. No one cares about this guy. No one cares. And if wrestling fans don't care about your wrestling show, you cannot create new fans from people who come to check it out. You just can't. Because people go, all the people who like this thing don't like it. Why would I stick around this?
And like the Raw ratings, I may just like have a peek for them. Like they did drop from last week's. It was like 2.5 last week. This week was like 2.3. But I expected like a much more severe drop. But from like just especially from like the
fucking
backlash.
Hope so.
But like
I want this company to eat shit for once, you know? Well, again, because they've eaten shit before. I want them to eat shit again.
Yeah, and just like that's part of the reason like people think that one the reasons that we're like for AEW is just like we just want the company we just want we just want wrestling to be better and
you know what? The rest of Raw was good.
Yeah.
The rest of Raw was good. It was a good Raw.
I
enjoyed Raw.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what I enjoyed. I felt like the club did something good. I can't remember. We watch so much wrestling at this point. There is so much wrestling, okay? Mm-hmm. NWA, I remember every single segment that happened in NWA. Mm-hmm. AEW, I remember every single segment that happened in AEW. NXT, I remember 90% of what happened in NXT. MLW, there's so much to watch now. Mm-hmm. Okay, that the good kind of just becomes a blur of good. We've talked about this with MLW. It's like you watch it for an hour, you're like, that was a good show. Yeah. And it never feels great and it never feels bad, right? And so Raw was kind of like that. Raw was kind of like a 2.5 hour episode of MLW with tacked on either end, some bullshit that no one cares about, and running all throughout just the insult of we're not going to mention what happened last night.
Yeah.
And that's what you remember is the shit sandwich. You remember those 2 slices of bread. There was something good in the middle, but it was sliced between 2 turds and with a sauce of fuck you.
Mystery
right?
meat. Yeah.
And that's what you remember.
Yeah.
And it bums me out because the rest of Raw was good. Becky Lynch did something. I don't know. Charlotte was there.
They reckon that they're going to try and build Becky versus Asuka, which they should.
Charlotte's 10 times women's champion now.
She is, yeah. Again, another bizarre decision I thought from Hell in a Cell, but yeah.
Well, when you look at the rate at which she's winning titles compared to her dad, but if you want to look at how long it took her daddy to become a 10-time champion, if she continues winning titles at the same rate and has a career the length of Ric Flair's, she will be a 48 million time women's champion.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
Times have changed. Title reigns are shorter now. Like that's fine. We understand that. I don't know. Like Hell in a Cell felt like it could have been a good show if they stuck the landing, but they didn't. Raw could have been a good show if those 2 bookend segments weren't shit, but they were. It sucks because there's so many good people there that you want to support, you know?
Yeah, and like obviously their attention is elsewhere with the draft this week, and they've got a press conference, don't they?
Well, that's it. People talk about like it was a holding pattern. Like they're not addressing it because it doesn't matter moving forward. They're going to just swiftly move on, and that's stupid. That's bullshit. That's not good story. That's not a company that respects me or itself. They don't respect themselves. They don't respect me. Hang on. Before we get to this press conference that's coming up, did you hear this story about Vince McMahon saying that WWE is too pro wrestling?
Yeah, I saw that one, and I was waiting for you to just let it rip for that, but
no, I can't be bothered at this point. I'm tired, man. I'm tired. It's 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
but it's one of these things. Like I've been yelling, man. Like my neighbors are gonna call the police. I don't know, man. If he looks at this,
mm-hmm.
and like I said, as a wrestling fan who likes pro wrestling, I have felt insulted many, many times over the past few weeks. And it's exacerbated by the fact that AEW exists and we can look at that and go, look at this like really good, fun 2-hour pro wrestling show every week. Like, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know it's only been twice and you know, it's a much smaller sample. Like, I guess it's only had 2 episodes.
We have a reference
been a fun
point.
wrestling show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this is what it can be. And like look at NWA, man. That was fun. That was a really fucking fun show. Like we have the reference points on weekly television now, and so it just amplifies the insult. And when you feel insulted, it's more amplified now. And I mean, at a certain point, we're going to become a show that never talks about WWE because I don't want to be talking like this.
No, and like we want to enjoy wrestling,
but to say it's too pro wrestling,
yeah,
my friend, I'm sorry. Nothing could be further from the truth. And we don't know if he actually said this. It was like a report according to an insider, whatever.
Yeah. But
it's apparently too pro wrestling, which I mean, what the fuck are you smoking, man? But you know, let's move on. SmackDown have a press conference coming up this Friday. Talk us through it.
So we kind of see where the building blocks are for this. But yeah, for this week's episode of SmackDown and the build up to the draft, like, and I forget the town they're doing it in, but like very UFC, very like MMA based. Like they're having this press conference. We're gonna have Tyson Fury there, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman, and Cain Velasquez, all talking about the future, which we imagine is going to be Crown Jewel, Brock and Cain, and Tyson and Braun.
I reckon they're going to announce that Brock's going to be doing every week on SmackDown or something.
That would be a great announcement.
Like there's rumors that he's going to do more SmackDowns, like more weekly shows. So I don't know. It's at this point it's how many wrestlers were on that panel?
I think like
Braun Strowman
and Brock.
How many full-time wrestlers? Braun Strowman.
Yeah, Braun Strowman, yeah.
That's it. That's all you got. This big WWE press release ahead of the draft on our new era on Fox, our biggest era to ever been. And
Braun Strowman.
And we've got one wrestler. One wrestler. All right, guys. But that's 2 pro wrestling. That's 2 pro wrestling. Vince won't stop until there are no wrestlers on Monday Night Raw. That's good shit.
Just focus on your.
There's no ring. Buddy. There's no ring. It's just Bold and the Beautiful. We're just watching Bold and the Beautiful with muscly men and blondes that sleep with their husband's friends, I guess. Yeah. Man, fuck this thing. You know what? I'm going to end this on a really, really, really positive note.
Please do so.
I'm going to give myself a second to refresh.
Sure.
Yeah, nigga. I'm gonna rep this motherfucking new No Limit till I die. Check this out, nigga. I could give a fuck what a nigga gotta say about me. I could give a fuck what the media gotta say. Nigga, I ain't got no motherfucking image. I'm from the hood. And you know what? When motherfucker come at me, they better come right, yo. Don't make me act a fool. Don't make me act a fool. Don't make me act a fool.
Hooty hoo! You know what we're listening to there, do you?
A little bit of Master P. Even my lack of hip hop knowledge, which is exemplified from that bloody quiz, but
a little bit of Master P. Master P is getting back in the wrestling business. I could not be more excited. As you guys can probably tell, I'm a hip hop fan. So Master P had a little stint in a small company you may have heard of. In, I want to say, the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
WCW.
Yeah.
Do you remember what he did there?
Was he like a manager, or was he like, we're talking like...
He had a stable, dude. He had the No Limit Soldiers.
Yeah.
The No Limit Soldiers. He had Conan, Rey Mysterio. There's sort of like the prelude to the Filthy Animals. Like, I think a lot of them became... And they feuded with, what were they called? Kurt Hennig was in the group, and they were like country guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the shirts that said "Rap is crap," right?
Yeah.
And Master P feuded with them. Master P's No Limit Soldiers feuded with them. And it was amazing. And so anyway, he's announced now that he's getting back into the wrestling business, and he was like, Vince McMahon, you should be scared. I agree. Okay.
The West Texas Rednecks.
That's it. The West Texas Rednecks, right? Yeah. So Master P has purchased House of Glory. Now you may think, a musician buying a wrestling company. I'm sorry, but one of our favorite things this week was NWA, which is owned by
Billy Corgan.
Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah.
So look, House of Glory already is a company that when you look at like Black Twitter and stuff, which is their own word for themselves. So yeah. I'm not being racist here.
No.
When you look at Black Twitter and stuff, they're like, this is a win for the culture, right? When Private Party went over, you'll see this a lot. Like there's a Private Party out there winning for the culture. And Master P buying House of Glory, it's a win for the culture, for street culture, for underground culture, for Black culture. And Amazing Red is fantastic, has done fantastic work with House of Glory. Private Party obviously came from House of Glory.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
They had their last match, like their last indie match with the Young Bucks, House of Glory, yeah.
Man, if Master P is putting some money into this and he gets them a weekly show on Fight or YouTube or, I'm going to be watching this. Hip-hop and wrestling go hand in hand. Hip-hop and wrestling, like, it's the attitude. Hip-hop and wrestling and punk and metal and these things, like, they have that underground DIY, rebellious. It's ingrained. It's intertwined. And I know that might sound weird because a lot of people look at wrestling as, it's southern, it's redneck, no.
Like, and I mentioned this before. Like, sorry, just take your point, but just like how I mentioned before about like you need to differentiate yourself in like with the work rate era at the moment. Like, you need to add your extra little flavor, extra little spice to your wrestling product. And NWA, they're doing the nostalgia, and House of Glory, like dive into the hip hop, like just go head first.
Well, when I talk about Black Twitter and the culture and the win for the culture and all that sort of stuff, and I talk about characters that will capture the youth market. We talk about this with AEW and with NXT and all that sort of stuff. And the truth of the matter is, mainstream culture follows behind Black culture.
Yeah,
it's just a fact.
Yeah, it does.
It's just a fact. You can't look at mainstream culture and say, and it's part of the narrative of oppression, or not the narrative, the story of the oppression of African American peoples. That the stuff they create gets taken from them, corporatized, monetized, and then they don't necessarily see the fruits of their own creation. And mainstream culture flows quite often from Black culture, and so it's to me, this is a win for the culture, and it means that when the culture is winning, then mainstream will eventually catch up as well. So wrestling will get better and good again. Have you seen the stuff going viral this week with Leroy Green in House of Glory?
I haven't had a chance to, no.
I'm going to have to send you these clips, man. So Leroy Green, he's obsessed with his Nintendo Switch. He's a gamer. That's his nick. And he's so similar to Orange Cassidy, doing moves with his hands in his pocket. So he's like ducking clotheslines and hitting Hurricane Ranas while playing a Switch. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing. So people need to check out Leroy Green. People need to check out House of Glory, because I'm predicting it's going to blow up, because I feel like Master P knows what he's doing. Like, as a businessman. He's a businessman, right? He's been doing his thing for years now. So I'm very excited about what's to come for House of Glory. So let's end on a positive note.
Yeah.
Because, if underground wrestling is doing well, then the future is bright.
If we're passionate about it, then it's gonna flow out into the rest of the wrestling world.
I'm exhausted, man. I'm gonna go get some sleep. Where can people find you when you're not sleeping?
You can find me on all the socials at MidsMysterious117I on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Grapple. Hit me up, guys. Let me know what you've thought about the Wednesday Night Wars for this week and all the other wrestling news from across the globe. How about yourself, Greg?
Well, first off, I apologize if I hurt anyone's ears with my yelling. My throat hurts. I can't wait to get some sleep now. So this one may be edited a little bit later than I thought. Who knows? I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter and also on Stationhead, where you can hear me spinning some wrestle rap and some wrestle punk and all sorts of fun stuff. I am also at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter, because wrestling won't fit the B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. Like, share, subscribe, 5-star review if you like what we do. Hooty hoo! That's the masterpiece thing. Anyway, thank you so much for listening.
Peace out, guys.